All right, please introduce yourself, state your name and DOC number for the record.
Raleigh Boudreaux, 298832.
Mr. Boudreaux, my name is Brennan Kelsey. Along with me is Mr. Tony Marabella and Ms. Cheryl Renata will be your panel. Explain the process to you, read some information for the record, have a parole interview, ask some questions, you can respond. At the end, you can make a statement, we'll take a vote. So you have some people here for you, some against and some for. Kerry Myers will speak. Chris Stashak will speak. Trey Boudreaux will speak. And then Miss Mary Randall will speak at the appropriate time. Riley Boudreaux, DOC number
298032.
Right?
Right.
Okay. Riley Boudreaux, 298832. And you are a first-class offender.
Yes, sir.
Ability 3/26/2021. Good time 30/2039. Full term 3/24/2090. Your commutation of sentence is 99-year sentence, second-degree murder. Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, would you answer Mr. Marabella's questions, please?
Good morning, Mr. Boudreaux. My name is Tony Marabella. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Boudreaux, how old are you, sir?
Be 76 in September.
And how long have you been in prison on these charges?
Since 1991. I mean, since 1990.
So 32 years.
Yes, sir.
And that would have put you around 44 years old. Is that right?
When I committed the crime?
Yes.
No, 42.
42. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So tell me what was going on. Tell me who Riley Boudreaux was at 42 years old.
Well,
Were you working back then?
Yes, I was working in a couple of white guys, our own company, pipe company, buy and sell off-field pipes. And I was a
Okay.
supervisor.
And how long had you had that job?
About 8 years or so, or longer.
And what was your family situation like?
Oh, my family situation was good till my wife fell with cancer. That's when everything fell apart. And
Shortly, your wife died shortly before this of cancer, is that right?
yes, as she caught breast cancer. They told her she was gonna have a year or so to live in it, but she didn't live that long. She lived, I think, 6 months, and then she passed.
Now, prior to your wife getting cancer and your wife dying, had you had any problems? Were you drinking or were you drugs or anything like?
No, sir, I didn't have no problem. After she passed, that's when I turned to alcohol because I know how to deal with the grief after she passed. But before everything was fine. Before that,
This is the only trouble you've ever been in, is that right?
exactly, yes, sir.
So tell me about your drinking. Your wife, I'm sure it was a horrible time for you when your wife got cancer and when she passed. How did you react to that? You said you started drinking. Tell me how that happened.
Well, when it first happened, it didn't hit me too hard, but afterwards, because I had 2 young kids, my kid was young back then. And I had just built me a house and I was alone. I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go to work and come back. And then my second one was a girl. And she would cry every night because my mother took her and was taking care of her because I had to go to work in the morning. And every weekend she would call, Dad, I want to come home. Dad, I want to come home. Excuse me. Oh, so when she'd call, I had to leave her there. So on the weekend, I'd go get her. And on Sunday nights, I would bring her back. And all this just piled up. But I was the type of person I would never talk to anyone about my problems. And I just kept it inside. And then
When did you start drinking?
after that, after she
What-
passed.
Were you a drinker before that? Did you socially drink or?
Oh, yeah,
did you-
yeah, I was, yes, I was a social drinker, but I always was in control. At that
So
time,
tell me what you started drinking about this time. What kind of alcohol were you drinking? Beer, whiskey?
Whiskey,
How often were you drinking?
just on weekends.
Were you drinking a lot?
Well, after she passed, I started drinking a lot.
That's what I'm talking about. After
Yeah.
she passed, how often were you drinking then?
I was drinking a lot then. I was
Every
drinking.
day, every other day?
No, dude. Just on weekend, because during the week I'd go to work. That's all I knew was work. I'd go to work. Then after work on the week coming back, I stopped get something to drink or at night. But I would never drink during the week unless I was off.
Well, let's talk about what happened. It looked like this was Christmas Day on 1989. Is that right?
Right.
Tell me what happened that day. Tell me what you were doing that day, how you got involved in this. Tell me exactly what you remember.
Well, I woke up that Sunday morning, took the kids and went to church. And after mass, I came and I started drinking. I drank all that day and all that night. And after I dropped my family home, I said, well, I'm going around the corner. And my wife, I was living with somebody, she said, well, stay home. And I said, well, I'm going around the corner, I'm coming right back. And I ran around the corner and that's when everything fell apart,
Tell me as best you recall what happened. What did you do?
Well, I was in a nightclub. And then I saw Mr. Randall walked in and he gave me the impression as if he wanted to do
Mr.
something.
Joseph Randall before that night?
Excuse me?
Did you know Mr. Joseph Randall before that night?
Oh, yes, I've been knowing Mr. Randall since in the 70s.
Okay, so tell me what happened.
Repeat that again? The thing went on.
Okay, tell me what all happened. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Okay, so after he walked in, I was sitting down, a security guard that I know was sitting down drinking, and I went to the bathroom and, I got into a little confrontation in the bathroom. And then after that, we kept on drinking. Then when he left, and I followed him, and then I shot him. I wanted to scare him, but evidently I was drinking too much, and the gun went off. And when I realized what happened,
Get the shotgun from.
oh, he was in the trunk of my car.
So you had the
I
shotgun
had it in
already.
there, was gone. Yeah.
What was the shotgun doing in your car?
Well, I used to do a lot of rabbit hunting, and I guess I forgot it in there. And I thought about it, so I figured he had a gun because the way he was acting like he had a gun, so I just wanted to show him I got a gun too. And when I pulled the gun and I pointed that way, the gun went off. And
What did you do?
I said, God damn, Boudreaux, what you done? But it was too late. And so the next day I went to the police and I turned myself in. And I told them what happened. I didn't want to go to trial. I tried to talk to my lawyer, tried to get a deal because I knew I had done something wrong, but they wanted to go to trial with it.
Mr. Boudreaux, let's talk a little bit about what you've done while you've been in prison. You've been in prison for 32 years. You've taken a lot of programs. You've taken Thinking for a Change, Living in Balance, Anger Management, Cage Your Rage. Tell me what programs have helped you the most.
Well, the first one that helped me the most was anger management, because when I got here, I was angry, I was mad. I ain't gonna lie to nobody. And I wasn't a person to talk, and like I'm talking to you now, to let you know my problem. But after I got in class, got to talking, and I seen where I had an anger problem. They told me you gotta stop, think about what's going on, let whoever talk and let them talk. Somebody have to have a cool head, be calm at it. It takes two persons to fight. So if I stop, think, if I'd stop and think for 1 second, I wouldn't have been here. And then I think the first class I took was AA, because when I was in the dorm, when I first got here, I was just sitting around. So the dude said, we got some classes going on. You want to go? I said, doing what? He said, AA, alcoholic. I said, well, I ain't no alcoholic, because to me, alcoholic was somebody would drink every day. I said, man, I ain't no alcoholic. I don't drink every day. I'm not a person that be on the corner drinking. I work every day. I'm a working person. I'll work 24/7 if I have to. So I got into the AA. So after a while, we went through the steps, some of the steps, and we got talking, and I started opening up, and they say, well, come to realize that I am an alcoholic. So that's really helped me, and I had to admit, it's the hardest part, the first part, where you say, I admit that alcohol took over my life. I admit that, but anyhow, admit.
That you're powerless, that you're powerless and you need a higher power.
I'm powerless over alcohol. I admit that I'm powerless over alcohol. Alcohol that took over my life, and then come to realize that the power greater than ourselves could take us back to make changes.
Have you come to realize that it was a combination of not only your anger, but the alcoholism that led to what happened here?
Exactly. It was the alcohol and the anger that led me to this point.
Let me ask you this. Assuming you get a positive vote today and you're able to get out, how are you going to be able to stay away from alcohol?
Well, as soon as I get out, my first priority is to see me a medical doctor, give me a nice, good physical, and I'm gonna find me someplace where I could go and get some more treatment with AA, close to where in the neighborhood or somewhere close where I could go to, and get me a sponsor where we could communicate. And I want to go to the 12 steps all over again and stay in it from now until, because it's just like I used to smoke, I quit. But once you're a smoker, you're always a smoker. So once you're alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic. And after this, what I committed, I'm ashamed of myself, what I did. This is not me. It's something that just happened under the circumstances. And I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Boudreaux, you can take a few seconds. You mentioned when you get out, you want to take a physical. Let's talk a little bit about your health. You got some kidney issues, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And what do you need to do for your kidneys, or do you know?
Well, what I could do for myself is keep off of the salt and stuff like that, and watch the food I eat. But the doctor told me that I'm a stage 4 kidney disease. So the rest is, I don't know I might be able to get some better medication or whatever. But I could do as much as I can. But the food I eat, because you say from the high blood pressure, and I was borderline diabetic, that's what was causing it. Because I was working at Camp J during the pandemic. And I was working over there, and all of a sudden I got sick. I took a blood work a few days before I started working. After I started working at Camp J, took blood work. So one Saturday morning, they woke me up and said, "You gotta go to Baton Rouge to the hospital." I said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I'm feeling good." But they said, "You gotta go anyway." So they brought me to the treatment center. So I went to Baton Rouge, and I had a bad bowel movement. So I thought it was that. So they said, "No, you got kidney problems." So I said, "You know, you got kidney problems?" I said, "No." But
That's how you
I said, "I
found
got a
out.
bad bowel movement." That's how I found out, right? Yeah.
Even after you got kidney problems and COVID hit, from reading your report, you continued to work with still do community service, is that right?
Yes, sir.
What were you doing back during COVID?
Well, at work at Camp J, serving food for the inmate that was had the COVID. We served them 3 meals a day. The hardest part was, I guess, in the morning breakfast, because you had to put salt, pepper, butter, and syrup and all that. And if you don't put you had to count every pack and all that to put on the same amount on these triggers. If you didn't, they would complain and all that. We had over 200 something people we had to feed every day. And there was 3 times a day. And then once you get through, you had to set up again for the next morning and clean up and all that, you know.
Mr. Boudreaux, I understand you've been a trustee for almost or right at 18 years, is that right?
18 or 20 something, I think, something like that. It's
Over 18 years. You are a low risk. You have 5 children?
3. I mean, 2. But
2
the
children. Hey, how old are your children?
46 and 39. I have my
Have a
son.
relationship with children. One of them is here with you today.
One right here with me today, and the other was on Zoom.
Okay. Warden, what can you tell us about Mr. Boudreaux?
Mr. Boudreaux has been a minimum aid trustee since 2001. He only had 5 DB reports in his 32 years of serving here. He's also a painter. He washed cars at one point. His tag is low, and he has been a great. I wouldn't say great because he committed a crime, but he has been one of the most outstanding offenders that we had here with no trouble at all.
Great. Thank you very much, Warden. Mr. Boudreaux, I understand you're going to the Louisiana Parole Project.
Yes, sir.
When you finish the Parole Project, where do you intend to live? Where you want to live?
In Youngsville.
Okay, and who are you going to live in?
Sir?
Your sister?
My son.
Son, okay. Your computer was cutting out a little bit. I couldn't hear you, but I got it. Thank you very much, Mr. Boudreaux. That's all I have.
All right, Mr. Myers, take a brief statement.
Yes, good morning again. Kerry Myers with Louisiana Parole Project. I think Mr. Boudreaux's interview was as clear as it could possibly be. You see his stability, you see his work ethic, you see his willingness to volunteer even when he was sick. We're here to offer him the full complement of our program and support. And we know that when he is completed with our program, we will connect him to all the services that he needs. When he is completed with our program, he'll have the excellent support with his son. So we just asked this board to grant his parole today.
All right, thank you. We're here for Ms. Corinne Stashek. Stoshek.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm here to speak for my brother, Raleigh. like he said, when this occurred, what he didn't say was his wife was dying and everything, and he had the full support of his family. When he went out there that night, the man told him, go take care of your wife, or some remark like that. And that's what instigated the episode. But prior to that, my brother never, ever was in trouble. He's one of 8 children, a family of 10, and we were raised on a farm, excellent work ethics, 6 sisters and 2 brothers. He was never, ever in trouble, never. So this was prompted by the alcohol, the anger, his wife dying, the stress of the wife, the post-stress, and the fact of the 2 young children. And I can tell you, we were raised with the family in the 50s. You don't ask questions, you don't talk. You keep your mouth shut and you do what we're told. And because we were raised that way, we were not expressive in our pain and sorrow. We had emotional problems. There was no such thing as emotional problem. You just better keep your mouth shut and do your work. And even today, sometimes it's hard to communicate with your relationships because of how we were raised. My father was a weekend alcoholic, and my mother had to deal with him every weekend. We had to deal with that, and my brother had to deal with that. And there was no anger outlet. So that's another reason what contributed to that episode. But as you can see, his work ethic is from his upbringing. And as you know, he was never in any trouble. Never. None of the siblings. We're not like that. The Boudreaux family is a very work ethic, you know, and his kidney problems. For my mom's 100th birthday, I visited with him, and I could smell, I'm a nurse, I could smell he had renal failure. And I told him, go back and ask your doctor, tell him, check your medicine, send me all your medications. He did, and I advised him, please ask them to take you off of this medicine. And then he stayed on that medication for 4 more years. And then when his kidneys failed and he was texting and he was all mentally disoriented and confused from the kidneys and the old medication, when he went to Baton Rouge, that's when they changed his medication 4 years later. By then he was in stage 4.
Okay.
So I
Yes, ma'am.
have a doctor to hook him up with when he gets home to take care of his kidneys if he's out.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you for your comment. All right, Trey Boudreaux.
Hi. Yeah, this is Troy Boudreaux. Riley Boudreaux is my dad. You know, I could say so much about this man. I mean, I was young. I was like a young teenager when the incident took place. But prior to that, all I know is that he provided a safe, loving home for me and my sister. We live a pretty normal life, with no abuse of any sort that I ever could have witnessed. He was about working, like he said, providing for his family, and just trying to be the best man and example he could be for me. And I'm gonna say, as far as that goes, even though it was short-lived, as a teenager, I still had, even though the lessons and the teachings, of course, never get enough of that from a parent. And I looked at him as a superhero, so that stuck with me. Losing 2 parents at a young age back to back made life kind of challenging, but just remembering those years is what carve out the man you see today. And this whole while of his incarceration, I've been coming to Angola since I was a teenager, 14, 15 years old.
Yes, sir.
And as you can see, I'm here today. I'm a pretty straightforward man. If I ain't thought he was worthy, father or not, I wouldn't be here today. So everyone gonna fight for their loved ones. I'm gonna fight for mine. I mean, I know he had a life sentence. I know it could have been a realization that this could be the end, but I never gave up on him and never will.
All right, yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you, sir. All right, we're here for Miss Mary Randall now. If she can stay there, she can stay there. Yes.
Yes, I'm so serious. I thought I was coming here today again here. Live. Both of that. And it's time to stop that. What he did, said, he wanted to kill my husband. The man ran 2 clubs most of his life, not just working at Aztec Pipe Company. This man offered to buy my divorce several times, and I refused to let him do it because my husband and I would be single out marriage and we would start all over again. The night he's talking about, my husband was on the dance floor when he walked in the club. The decisions he made, leaving 2 little children and a wife that he had just married on a Christmas night, to follow our car and shoot my husband in the face with a shotgun, where his head had to be sawed off. Yeah, his family could talk good now, but I know Raleigh. I went out with Raleigh. Raleigh needs to tell the truth why he killed my husband. Because I went back home to my husband. And the drinking, yes, he ran 2 clubs. He drank every day. That wasn't new. And I didn't saw Raleigh pull out a knife on a man because he was urinating outside the club. I didn't saw Raleigh do this and do that too. I mean, come on, nobody's perfect. All the lies that need to stop. Maybe people can grow from it. I mean, they got their family going, yeah, but my husband been going 32 years. Mountains are killing every day now. Nobody want to go to church, nobody want to go to school, nobody want to be in their home, nobody want to be in their car. I mean, what? I don't know, why is he not telling the truth at this point now? It's sad. He's not the only one who got sickness and illness. How can you put somebody back on the street like that and still not telling the truth?
All right. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for your comment.
I'm so sorry on this.
It's okay. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comment.
Thank y'all for listening. But this is ridiculous.
All right. We're here from Mr. Boudreaux now. If you'd like to make a brief statement, Mr. Boudreaux.
Yes, like I said, I'm really contrite for what happened. Like I said, it wasn't intended. It wouldn't have been for my wife passing. What he said to me, then none of this would have happened. And then if I wouldn't have been drinking, I'm sorry. Taking Mr. Randall's life. I pray for Mr. Randall and his family every night. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Now we're here for Ms. Hogan to wrap it up.
Thank you, Mr. Kelsey. Mr. Boudreaux has served 32 years. As the warden stated, he's had 5 disciplinary write-ups in those in the time he's served. All of those write-ups were for low-level offenses. He's never spent a single night in lockdown for anything. And I think that a review of his record both before and during his incarceration demonstrates that the crime he committed is very, very literally the worst thing that he's ever done in his life. And it's not indicative of who he is or who he was. Even at the time that it was circumstantial, it is unlikely to reoccur. He has a low risk of recidivism, and he's taken multiple classes, including AA and other things that have helped him deal with his alcoholism and his grief. Personally, Mr. Boudreaux, every time that I ever brought a group of students in to meet with parole clinics, clients, Mr. Boudreaux was there giving waters to the students. He's always, he works at the front gate in the A building, and he always takes it upon himself to help out in any way possible. Even though he has a light duty status, he doesn't just use the excuse to kick back and not work. He's very diligent working. He used to make the cracklings that people would munch on during the long days of parole hearings. Mr. Boudreaux has tremendous family support, and he's clearly grown and addressed the problems that brought him to prison. And for all these reasons, we would ask that Mr. Boudreaux be granted parole with any conditions that are deemed appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Fair to vote?
Yes.
Mr. Marabella?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First off, I'd like to thank everyone who spoke here today. Ms. Randall, thank you very much for being here.
Sure, and on Monday they were saying like that while it was getting out of prison on Wednesday, May 17th. Patrick Andrews, senior. Raymond
Okay.
Israel,
No, yes, ma'am. We're fine. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I'm just saying, why was that said? Why is it being said in the street?
We're not sure about that. We'll go ahead and finish the.
I just want to thank you for being here, Ms. Randall.
Thank you all too.
Mr. Boudreaux, I've been in the criminal justice system for years. I was a lawyer, a judge, and a defense lawyer, a prosecutor, all of those things. And, your case has never been truer when we say sometimes people make a mistake, in the spur of the moment, and they're punished for it for the rest of their life. There are consequences for the rest of their lives. You led a law-abiding life for this crime, and you've been a good prisoner since this crime. But you committed horrible crime, committed a murder, and you paid dearly for that for the last 32 years. You've done well while you've been in prison. You have an excellent sobriety plan. I think you understand your alcoholism. You've discussed with us how you dealt with your anger. You have an excellent prison record. You're a trusted inmate. Excellent comments by the warden today, and a very good transition plan with the Louisiana Parole Project. My vote today is to grant your parole to the Louisiana Parole Project. And once you complete that program, I'm going to request that you do 3 AA meetings per week and follow whatever recommendations that the Louisiana Parole Project requires. So good luck to you, sir. That's my vote. I'm only one of 2 votes.
Ms. Renata?
Mr. Boudreaux, I do agree with Mr. Marabella. My vote today also is to grant to the Parole Project transition plan with the added special condition that you have no contact with the family.
I actually have 2 votes to grant. I also vote to grant your parole for the same reasons as stated. You'll have NA 3 times a week, no contact with the victim's family. You'll go to the Louisiana Parole Project. 3 votes to grant today. Your parole's been granted. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm gonna close out of Angola at 10:56. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.